facility engineer. I took all the equipment.
Okay.
All the
What kind of equipment, if you don't mind me asking?
equipment is mostly stated what they call wind tunnels.
Hello, ladies.
Simulating the flights, the elevation, the performance of the vehicle when they fly in
So-
and when they come back to Earth.
And based upon your work, have you ever verified that the Earth is round, or you know what I mean? Because I feel like NASA, they take a bunch of money and don't actually show us proof. You know what I mean? Just to fill you guys in, this is a NASA engineer right here. speaking to
Oh,
you.
wow.
He's like
Um,
the person that
So we're on opposite side, but we agree on
we're on
many
your
things.
side, don't worry, we're on your side.
Yeah, but I like that because you guys probably respect his opinion more. So I want to hear what he got to say. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so what
No,
what
I
proves
grew
to
up
you?
like you. I grew up as a Muslim, and the Muslim faith says that the earth is a flat.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even the Muslims right now, if you ask them, say this is BS.
So what
Yes,
what
this is totally
what is the
BS.
one thing that makes you know the Earth is round?
When
The one
I
one
have a
proof.
friend, I have
Any questions,
coworkers.
ladies, for y'all walk
I
away?
have coworkers. I have coworkers.
Any questions for y'all walk away?
I spoke to
Or you
them
know what? Take a
in
picture and do your
person.
own research. You know.
So the only thing, I have coworkers in person. I'm talking to them who went around the earth, and they tell me we went in space. I built a spaceship for them, so
Uh-huh.
to speak, and they went up and looked at it. It's not I'm sitting here. Am I seeing a mile this way or a mile that way? They in person talk with vehicles we built,
Hmm.
and my eye they took off myself.
But then they disappeared, right?
No,
You
they
did-
did not
but-
disappear. They still visible. They
But
are
I'm
still
saying-
visible.
but I'm saying you
visually,
didn't-
visually and also instrumentally.
But I'm saying you didn't see them go into space.
No, I did.
They disappeared from your eye.
No, they did not. They
So,
did not.
I don't think you're Superman. I don't think you can see that far.
No.
But I'm saying, what's
Yeah.
the one thing of how you know they're in
Yeah.
space? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
what we see usually is we'll see an astronaut really high,
Yes.
and they're up really high. They're not in space,
Okay, then what
but
they-
they'll have a fisheye lens on the camera.
I'll go with your line. Okay.
No, because all right, did you
Yes,
know?
yes.
And I'm pretty sure you do know
Yes.
that every image of Earth from space
Yes.
is a CGI image.
Uh-huh.
So, and then they asked the guy who makes them at NASA, they said, why do you only make CGI images? Why don't you have any real images of Earth? You know what he said? He said, because they have to be. That's all he said. He never, you know, it wasn't some elaborate answer. He just, we just got to make them that way, guys. I have to compile them on Photoshop.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we don't have one image of Earth from space. But we're supposed to be sending rovers to Mars and blah 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 and all this stuff, but we've never proven
I really
it.
appreciate what you're doing.
No, I really appreciate you too, bro. It's great speaking with you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, for sure.
It is really fascinating.
Can I ask you a question real quick though?
Yes.
So obviously, do you believe in the equation 8 inches per mile squared?
If there is no atmosphere.
But there's
The
always atmosphere.
The atmosphere warps the thing, and when the sun sets, the sun's way gone, and you still see the sun. And the reason for that is not only for the object or the ship or somebody far away, because you have some refraction from the atmosphere. So that gives you much longer thing, even though it is what you call facade. It's not a facade. It's a mirage.
Refraction.
It's a mirage.
A mirage usually flips the image upside down.
No, it's not it's similar to that. It's still you still have
Refraction is the light, is the atmosphere bending the image, right? So, what I'm saying though, when we see these things, we can see them on a clear day, not atmosphere creating refraction. We see them on a clear day because refraction would be when the atmosphere is hitting the light and it's bending that light. But we see things when there is not much atmosphere, conditions. It's a clear day.
you still
You know what I mean?
atmosphere exists.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Earth still exists 19
at what
miles above.
at what point?
190 miles above you. So it's
So we can still see something 120 miles away from refraction. We can see it clear, not bending because of light. We'll see it clear because refraction distorts the object.
Maybe the scientific word for it is distortion.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Refraction is supposed to distort the object, but we see the object clear. So it can't be refraction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you and I appreciate what you're doing and keep doing what you're doing. This
All
is
right. What was your name again, brother?
Zach.
Zach Bryce. You have a nice day. All right.
Have a good one.
He was a NASA engineer, guys. Hello. How you doing?
There is no flat.
How do you know?
I know, sir.
How do you know?
Yes, I know.
Okay, so what would you tell your kid if they asked you that? How would you prove to them that it's round?
Because it's usually a picture from the
Satellite?
satellite.
Uh-huh.
It's around. It's around.
Okay. Do you know what a CGI image is, ma'am?
No, what is that?
No? A CGI image means a computer-generated image, like Photoshop.
Uh-huh.
Did you know that all the pictures of Earth from space?
No, that's not.
Can I finish my point? Did you know that all the pictures of Earth from space are CGI? NASA admitted it already.
No, all the people.
No, they've admitted it.
Listen, if you go anybody that have been going to the universe, you know, up there,
yeah.
they have seen the Earth.
Do you have a phone on you?
Yeah, we do.
Because I would go to it, but can you show me any real pictures of Earth from space? They're all Photoshop, man.
No, not all the Photoshop.
I can show you right now. NASA admitted it.
Come on.
So what if NASA? What if I can show
Clark
you?
Kent is Superman.
What if I can
Clark
show
Kent is
you?
Superman.
What if I can show
Clark
you
Kent is
NASA
Superman.
admitting it?
Oh, listen. Clark Kent is Superman.
I don't get what you're talking about.
Clark Kent. You know who is Clark
Yes,
Kent?
he's Superman. Yeah. What does that have to do with my question?
A lot. Because
So what if I can show you NASA telling you that they're CGI images? Would you still not believe it?
Some are, but not all of them.
Do you know who Don Pettit is?
No.
He's a high-ranking member of NASA. He's telling you right here, this is his quote, that we can't go back to space. He said we destroyed the technology back in the 60s.
That's not true.
This is his own word. He was on an interview. It's a video of it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you just don't believe what they say.
And the moon is a holographic. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
So the moon is not around.
The moon is round. What does it have to do with Earth?
A lot.
Can the leaf look at the branch and know that they're the same?
That's different.
Exactly, it's different. The planet doesn't mean we're the same way. The same way the leaf is different from the branch. It doesn't mean because they are connected that they're the same.
That doesn't have no common sense.
Yes, it does. You can laugh now, but it doesn't make it true.
No, because you're making yourself a fool.
But you don't believe that NASA said they didn't go back to space.
It's
You still
not
believe
true.
they went to
It's
space
not
even though
true.
it tells you they didn't go to
It's not true.
space.
If you can prove it, man. Elliot
No,
Moss and
listen
say,
to Don
hey,
Pettit. He
Elliot,
works at
You
NASA.
can take me up in the sky, and I want to see if the Earth is around. It's around. It's around.
It's-
Because
Look up what a CGI image is now.
all the planets are around.
Yeah.
All the
How do you know
planets
that?
are going in a circle like
And
this.
you know that because somebody told you. You never seen it.
No, not because somebody told
Oh,
me.
you seen
can
it?
see it with a telescope.
You seen the Earth?
Yeah, I can see it with the telescope.
You seen the whole Earth?
No, but I go to the telescope and I can see Jupiter. I can see all the
That's
planets.
like the same way looking at this building doesn't tell you about that building.
No,
They're not
no,
the same.
No, it's different.
So you don't make sense, man. But have a nice day. You should take a picture and do your own research because you believe stuff and you believe stuff you haven't proven. You believe stuff you haven't proven.
So I wanted to talk to you about this.
Hey, what's up, bro? My name's Bryce.
Right.
What's your name?
I really appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Because I do believe that there is.
Yeah.
Last time I got on a plane, I didn't see any curvature.
Over 30,000 feet up, you don't see nothing, right? And according to their math, you're supposed to see over 60 feet of curvature.
I like to see like a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
What they call conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they say, oh yeah, you just into that stuff, blah blah blah. But NASA, they like those pictures. Like I was hearing what you were saying.
Yeah, the lady.
I know.
I don't know if you heard it, but she was telling me those images are real. I was like, so what if I told you, I could show you that NASA telling you themselves they're CGI.
This is what I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that all the scriptures are real, and they've never been to the moon. They've never been out of you know.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
Unfortunately, people and tell them about this stuff, they're all close-minded.
Oh yeah, and believe me, I only started believing this about 5 years ago, so I understand it. I used to believe in this too. That's why I don't, even though that lady was being rude, I don't think anybody's stupid because I used to believe the same thing. I'm just trying to open people's minds.
Back then, I used to tell you, when I started hearing all this stuff, I started talking just like you.
Yeah.
The problem is, like,
How you doing? Come speak if you got a question. See you looking.
that once you start talking,
Yeah.
people just want to look at you like, oh, this guy's nuts.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
this guy's crazy. But there is no proof of that.
Yeah.
But people don't want to. They don't want to see that.
They rather.
The truth is in front of their faces.
Yup.
But they can't see that.
They go on a plane, they don't see it. They go on an air balloon, they don't see it. They drive down the highway as far as the eye can see, they don't see it. We've seen aircraft go up over 240,000 feet. We still don't see curvature. You know, like I said, these things are things we're all not supposed to see on a round earth, but people still want to believe it.
I didn't know. But one time I was thinking, what about the boats? You know how they go in the sea?
Yeah, how they say they sink? Yeah.
They say they sink because they start seeing that.
They go over the curve, yeah.
Have you ever been on roads like in the middle of the desert and you see far away?
Yeah.
And you see the heat coming up.
Yeah.
So it's just like that.
Yeah. But
you know, it's just the heat. So
But that same ship that disappears under, I don't know if you've seen the videos, they'll take a telescope or a high-power zoom and they'll zoom in and they see the same ship. So like I asked, if you went over the curve, I should never be able to zoom in and see you. You're gone. But we zoom in all the time and see the object again. See the object again.
I think it's like I said, you know, when you have that heat, you see a car go by, you go.
Yeah, and it's all wavy.
Yeah, all wavy. Have you seen that?
Yeah. The heat waves, yeah.
At some point, that car is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
And you might think, oh well, it disappeared because it's not straight. It's
Yeah.
curved. But you know, it's just that.
It's the atmosphere. There's things that, like this guy, there's things called refraction. That is true, but that's light bending an object. Or this one, when they showed the Chicago skyline, they said that it was a mirage. A mirage is something, and then it's reflecting off the water. But to the viewer, it's like if I had a mirror right here. What I'm seeing is going to be upside down. It's the same way, but with this mirage, the thing was upright, so it can't be reflected off the water. You know what I mean? It's upright. So they'll lie to you right in your face, but then you go back and do the research, and you're like, wait, a mirage is supposed to reflect the upside down image. You don't see it. Bro, honestly, man, I'm reluctant to do it, you know, because a lot of people call you names, they look at you crazy, and that's cool. It sucks to deal with that sometimes, but at the same time, I like the people that are bold enough to come speak to me, even if they disagree. Because if we can start with one, not insulting each other and really just wanting to know, and we exchange information.
For someone to hear all this stuff, they have to be open-minded.
Yeah. And I get it's world changing. It challenges what you know. You might feel that I'm calling you stupid, which I'm not, but it's me challenging your knowledge. So sometimes people are offended by it, but it's just, hey, bro, let's just exchange what we know. Not what somebody told us, and they looked really smart when they did it. Let's exchange what we know, what we actually go out and we observe every day, you know? So even flat bodies of water, you've never seen an ocean curve. You know what I mean? I got some water right here. Like, no matter which way I put it, it's always gonna find its level. So how do we have water curving on a ball? You know what I mean? And then they'll say the magic word, gravity, but it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, even gravity, it has to be a selective force.
I wonder if the birds, when the birds die, do they stay up there?
When the who? When the who dies?
When the birds die.
Right? Yeah. Because it's the same way. If we're all held down from gravity, if that 4,000-pound car is held down from gravity, why can't I blow up a balloon and the balloon go up? But the balloon, and I know they're gonna say it's because of the air molecules are lighter, but I'm saying, isn't gravity acting on that 4,000-pound car? That's the reason a 4,000-pound car is gonna float off. But it can't act on something that's
a lot of gravity and Earth's that big. It should be able to pick that car up, right?
Yeah, or everything. If something that's lighter can float off, how does something heavier stay down? But gravity's keeping the heavier thing down. That doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It has to. And I get that they'll say it's because helium is lighter than the air around it. But what they're describing is weight being distributed in the environment. They're not describing a force acting on everything. Gravity is supposed to be acting on everything. So why does it not act on the balloon? Why does it not act on the little bird? But it keeps me down. I'm 192 pounds. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. So even when Earth got pulled in by the sun, they said it got pulled in because of the gravitational pull. So it's like a magnet. So it was way over here, a billion miles away, and then it got pulled in 93 million miles away. Which, if you're able to pull it from way over here, it's just like a magnet. As soon as you get closer, the gravitation gets stronger, right? So how did Earth stop at the right point? You know what I mean? Gravity's a selective force. It just chose to stop acting on it. No, as soon as we got pulled 100 billion miles away, when we came in 93 million miles away, it would have been over. We would have got pulled in and burned away. So I'm saying they don't even realize that gravity, the way they describe it, it's a selective force. You know what I mean? So I
was there, and I was hearing to the conversation we were having with that guy. I was like, oh man, I was gonna go over there. I don't want to say nothing.
What was your name again, brother?
Roger.
Roger? Right. No, I seen you here earlier, but I was speaking with somebody. So I've been trying to give everybody. I don't like to cut people off. I wanted to speak with you earlier, though. Yeah, but. No, but yeah, bro, it's good speaking with people.
All of them have to send the same.
Yeah. So you believe in God?
I stay away from religious things.
Okay. Well, what do you believe in, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my wife is the one that she does church.
Okay.
I try to be open-minded.
Okay.
I listen to different religions. I don't particularly follow a religion.
I got you. But would you say that there is a God? Would you start there at least? I just want to hear what you think, bro. Just, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but I just want to hear what you think.
I would say no.
Okay.
I
You think it was like Anunnaki, aliens?
Yeah, maybe
I got you.
Wrong.
No. I've heard the theory. So I've always been curious though, the Anunnaki, where did they come from?
I don't know. I would have to do my research.
Because what I would say to that, right, is if the Zimbabwe created the Anunnaki, somebody else created the Zimbabwe, and we go back a billion of creators. Somebody just wasn't created. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless or somebody was always there. It has to be. You know what I mean? If the Anunnakis are the creators, I'll meet you there. Who created them? And let's go back a million of creators. Let's go back a billion. Let's go back 10 trillion. Who was first there? You know what I mean? That's why I said it leads back to God. You know what I mean? Wherever you cut it.
Some people might say evolution, but to be honest, I don't believe in evolution either.
Evolution sounds like you can throw a house up and it comes down all perfectly assembled.
The reason I don't believe in evolution is because if there was evolution, the monkeys, they would have already evolved.
If evolution was true, anything would be possible.
Yeah.
If a single-celled amoeba can go to a human from chemicals in the pool to flying fish in the pool to coming out of the pool with lungs to turning into something else, to turning into a monkey, to turning into man, anything is possible. We should one day be able to poke our head in the water and grow gills again. You know what I mean? Anything will be possible. So as we all know, we don't live like that. We've never seen anything like that. We've never seen a bird turn into a pterodactyl.
What do you think about Atlantis?
Atlantis? Like underwater city?
No.
That's what they say, right?
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
What's more? I mean, it has to be more than just Antarctica, right?
Well, I'll say this. I think that, like, even if there's aliens, if there's something outside of the dome, I think that it's not in it's not in God's purpose for us to discover it right now. Because, for example, if he did make aliens and aliens were to come down or to be proven, man would point to alien and be like, look, they created us. They wouldn't point to God. It would cause confusion. You know what I mean? And I don't think God wants to confuse us anymore. So even if he did, hey, let's talk about it. You know, see people point laugh, but that's what I'm saying. Even if he did, I don't think certain things are supposed to be confirmed right now because it might cause confusion, and God doesn't want to confuse us anymore. You know what I mean? I think he wants to keep things very clear and cut. You know what I mean? So I think people would point to the alien and be like, look, that's our creator. They wouldn't think, oh, look, something else God made. I would think something else God made, because how did you get here still?
So
But,
the
you know,
question is, how we got here?
how we got here? So it's as simple as this, man. I've never seen anything blow up and be created, right?
Well, they say about the thing. That's what they say about the Big Bang.
And like I said, people always say, oh, well, who created God? Okay, even if that is true, like I said, who created that God? Who created? We have to go back a billion, zillion, trillion gods to where somebody was just there. You know what I mean? So that makes more sense to me, even though it's hard for my brain to wrap around, that somebody, a all-powerful being, willed to create Earth and us and to give us a way to know him rather than nothing to blow up something.
Because my wife always
Well,
said-
actually, nothing to blow up nothing to start creating something, and then that something learn to reproduce itself and then create other things besides itself. That sounds like I've never even seen something like that possible at all. You know what I mean? That's like saying if I take a grenade after a million times, maybe on one of them they'll start creating a little society. Like, you know what I mean? It sounds complete nonsensical rather than just believing that somebody created something. The same way if you were walking in the forest, bro, and you seen a painting, you would know, I don't see the painter, but somebody painted that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what I mean? So why when we walk around creation, and obviously creation is way more intricate than a painting, way more complex. It takes way more intelligence to create this earth than a painting. Why don't we think, okay, maybe I don't know which creator, but there is a creator that made this. So I can meet you with you if you don't agree with the God of the Bible yet. I can hear that. But I would say to at least understand that the odds of something coming into being by itself it's just flat zero, bro.
We're here, so
We're here, yeah, and then we got ecosystems. We got things that depend on other things to be here. You know what I mean? Like with the bees need the flowers need the bees, the bird needs the bee. And, you know what I mean? It's all these
the number one
ecosystems.
pollinator.
Yeah, that where the whole system collapses if certain things break down. It's like, you know, so it's like I know I believe in the Bible, but that's a separate conversation. But my point is I would like, if you could think of with yourself, bro, of like, all right, based upon just odds and logic, there's got to be a creator. Now, as far as you doing the research to find out which creator, I'll leave that for you one day. You know what I mean? Or you could take a picture of this and do your own research, brother. I think it's going to lead you to the Bible. You know what I mean? Because at one point in time, even though I was raised Christian, at one point in time I wasn't. I would say I didn't have a religion. Because I got to a point where I realized, like, man, I don't want to just believe in God because my mommy and daddy told me. You know, I want to find God for myself. And so I took a time where I told myself I wasn't religious. I was going to study all religions in the earth and things that made sense.
I think that's a good trend.
Yeah, and I'll say this: the more I studied, the more it led me back to God, bro. You know what I mean?
Be open and study.
Yeah, I didn't want to believe, and that's how I have a strong faith. I don't believe because my mommy and daddy told me. I believed on what I know about the earth, what I know to be true, what I know about the Bible, what I know about other religions, what I know about the Bible's historical accuracy. You know, there's the book of John was written 700 years before Jesus came. I don't know if you know, but Jesus is a known historical figure.
There's a couple other books that were not in the Bible.
Yep.
Like, you know.
But my point with that one is that the book of John describes, it doesn't name him, but it calls him the Messiah. It talks about what he's going to do for the earth, how his hands are going to be pierced, he's going to be crucified for our sins, and then 700 years later, a man named Jesus is born and does that, and then it's all collected in the Bible. So I'm saying there's a lot of historical accuracy of things that are, you could basically say, a miracle. How did this guy John get inspired by God to write this story of what would happen 700 years later. You know, if you look up, it's in the Black Sea Scrolls. They found these scrolls in Egypt that match up with the Bible today. So we know it's not just made up. You know, the John the Baptist scroll from 700 years before even goes back before that.
See, all this, I see. I didn't know. You just telling me. So all this is like world.
And don't believe me, bro. Do your own research, bro. The same way, like I said, I got to a point where I wanted to believe, but I didn't want to believe because my mom and dad. I didn't want that to just be the only reason I believe in God. You know, I wanted to build a stronger foundation of why I can basically argue with anybody, not argue, debate, and stand on my belief. Not because my mommy and daddy told me. But like I said, I got to a point where I wasn't religious, bro. I was gonna find them for myself. But like it says in the word, if you seek, you shall find. And I found, bro. And I don't think there's anything on the earth that could convince me of other, because like I said, we can go with historical data. I'll leave you with one, bro. You heard of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Okay, so that was a city that had sulfur rained on it, fire and brimstone, all these things, all these curses, we want to call it, came upon this evil land. Still in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, they find these sulfur balls today. Millions of them scattered in the land. You can light them on fire and they burn super sticky. To where if it landed on you, it burned in you, it lights your building on fire. It's exactly the way God said it rained sulfur from the sky. They still find these sulfur balls all in that area. There's a mountain called Mount Sinai, where God says fire came down and struck that area. Mount Sinai is still burned to this day. You know what I mean? There's all type of historical things that God has proven to you. So, like I said, don't let me tell you, bro. Research it for yourself, brother. Good speaking with you.